Here are some comments, questions, and sage advice I've gotten from people when they find out I'm child-free. You'll never experience real love if you don't become a parent. I guess then the love between my husband and I is fake. It's really not real. I should just go let him know right now that our love is fake. Give me just a quick second. Whew, okay, now that he knows that our love isn't real, I think we're ready to have kids. Oh, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Hannah, the wife without kids. This channel is all about offering a supportive and non-judgmental community for those who have made the choice to not have children. This is all globalism-supported population control propaganda. I had to read that one. It was too wordy. All right, I just really need to be honest with you guys what this channel is really about. Let's just get real. People like the truth, right? I'm not that complicated of a person. I've simply made the choice not to have kids because I don't want to be a mom. I'm not part of a secret movement for population control that is trying to change people's minds about having kids by starting a YouTube channel. Here's a question for you. Do you even know how kids are made? I'm going to die alone with my cats. That wasn't a very nice thing to say. Okay, I have two comments about this one. First, why does everyone assume that I'm going to live longer than my husband? I mean, statistically, women do technically live longer than men, but not always. Also, I don't actually think this is even remotely possible, and here's why. Let's just say I live for another 40 years. I mean, that's realistic. That would give me a decent life. My cats aren't going to live another 40 years. If you refer to this chart right here, this is basically the lifespan of a cat. If my cat lived another 40 years, it would probably be like 200, and I don't think that's a thing. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe my cat could be like in the Guinness World Book of Records for being the longest living cat ever in human history. Caesar has really been taking his health a bit more serious lately. He's been practicing his jumping, he's been eating his greens, and honestly, he's lost a pound. So he is doing very well. So you never know. I'm giving you my condolences. I need condolences because I don't have kids? Well, thank you so much. I mean, I'll take them. I don't think I need them. I'm not sad. I'm not regretful, but okay. You'll probably regret this decision when you're older. Now, this always stumps me a little bit because how can you regret something that you don't want in the first place? I don't want kids. How can I regret not having kids? Also, how can I regret something if I don't actually know what it's like? I can't regret not having kids if I haven't had kids because I haven't experienced what kids are like. They say, oh, as the years pass, you'll regret it. But years have passed and I still don't regret it. I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Humanity is going extinct because of people like you. Okay, I don't exactly know how many billions of people are on the earth right now, but I'll look it up and I'll pop it up on the screen. I think statistically about 10 to 15% of women right now are not having children. So that means if 10 to 15% of women aren't having kids, that means we're gonna go extinct. I mean, I'm not really that good at math and I could pretend I'm gonna do some fancy number crunching and then let you know for sure we aren't going extinct, but I don't think that some women choosing to not have kids is going to throw us into extinction anytime soon. There are always going to be people who have children. There are always going to be certain individuals who want to have big families. So don't they sort of make up for the people who are choosing not to have kids? Have you guys gotten any of these comments or questions before because you've made the choice to be child-free? Let me know down in the description box below. You may not want a kid now, but once you have it, you're gonna love it. This way of thinking just doesn't make any sense to me. If I don't want kids, why would I have one? How do you know I wouldn't regret it? I feel like I have enough life experience and I've been on the earth long enough to know what kind of goes into having children. I mean, I haven't experienced what it's like to have kids and to be a parent, but I can observe in other families, in my own family, and I've looked at everything and I've analyzed it and I've just said, you know what, having kids isn't for me. Why on earth would I have a child? It just doesn't make any sense. And you know what, people say you won't regret having kids. I don't believe that. I believe there are actually parents who regret having kids. I'm finding more and more articles and information online where parents are actually coming out and saying, no, you know what, I've actually regretted having kids and I wished I hadn't done it. Obviously, again, not a popular thought, not something that most parents probably feel comfortable saying out loud. If you do something that you really already know you don't want to do, chances are you're probably going to regret it. you aren't contributing to society. Last time I checked, there were a lot of different ways that you can contribute to society. Having kids is just one way. And honestly, now there's a lot of people that look at what's going on in the world and look at the environmental condition of our world, and they sort of say, actually, if you have kids, that could be part of the problem. I'm not saying that I think like that because I don't necessarily think that way, but I know that some people say if you don't have kids, it is taking away from some of the problems that can be caused by human beings being here on Earth. I'm part of a feminist propaganda group that's infiltrated YouTube. I am? Now, of course, not everybody that leaves comments leaves ones that are negative and mean. Some people leave legitimate questions that they're curious about, so here's one of those. Did you decide before or after getting married that you wanted to live child-free? I remember being a teen and deciding that I didn't want kids. Of course, a lot of people do change their minds when they're in their teens and they're making a life choice like that, but that's actually never changed for me as I grew into adulthood. And now that we've been married for well over a decade, I still haven't changed my mind. Are you going to adopt kids? I have so much respect and admiration for couples and individuals that choose to adopt kids. Honestly, because I don't want kids, I don't think I would adopt kids. They always say never, so I try hard not to say never when people ask me things because, you know, I guess you're just not supposed to say never. This next question is actually a really good one. Would you still have married your husband if he had already had children? Oh, that's really hard. And I can't imagine not being with him. I think if you get into a relationship with someone that already has kids with someone else, that can be really complicated. It can make your relationship more challenging, I think. So I actually don't know. I mean, I can't say no for sure. To be honest, I probably would have leaned towards no, though. Like, my gut instinct is just like, no. If he had had kids, I think I would have just been like, that's not for me. It's too much. I can't deal. But luckily he didn't have kids, so whew. Why do you think it matters so much to other people that you don't have kids? There's a lot of conversation that goes on about why I don't have kids. And by me, I mean just us, our community in general. Most of that conversation sort of has a negative connotation and a negative stigma attached to it. I don't know why people are so bothered by the fact that some people just choose not to have kids. I don't know why it's so interesting to people. I don't think twice about parents who have 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 kids. Just normal, people have kids, that's great. If I meet other people who don't have kids, I don't really ask why they don't have kids, that's just their choice. If I find people who've adopted children, I don't often ask, why did you adopt children? I just think some people have a heart for children and want kids, they want their own or they want to adopt, and some people don't. You won't experience life to the fullest if you don't have kids. What does experience life to the fullest actually even mean? I mean, there are people who are super adventurous and they go and do all sorts of crazy things in their life, and that's experiencing life to the fullest for them. And then there are people who are more subdued. They may just love predictability and stability and living life close to home, and they don't want all those adventures that other people thrive off of. Living life to the fullest means so many different things for so many different people. And if you've experienced something and that's something you've always wanted to experience, yeah, of course it's made your life more full. But you can't take that experience that you've had and put it on someone else and say, well, if you haven't experienced the thing that I've experienced, your life isn't full. Because maybe the other person doesn't want to experience what you've experienced. That's a lot of experience. Living life to the fullest means different things for different people, and for some people, living life to the fullest means having a family, having their own children, and to some people, living life to the fullest means not having kids, because that doesn't interest them. So in my mind, living life to the fullest is actually very subjective. Because you don't have kids, you will be able to afford a nice assisted living facility someday when you're older. I've actually visited quite a few assisted living facilities because I've visited a lot of senior citizens in my day already so far. And I've got a running tally in my head, the ones that are like the nice ones that I could potentially see myself in someday, and the ones that are not so nice that I'm just like, yeah, I'm not interested in those. So, you know, I've got some options. It's true. Do you think a lot about not having kids? Well, I mean, I kind of do and I kind of don't. I kind of don't because once my husband and I had the discussion about it and we realized we were on the same page together and we just knew that we weren't going to have kids, that was sort of like the end of that. But I mean, it is on my mind a lot because my entire channel is about living child-free. Oh. There we go. Yeah. Just got a slight overbite. Poor guy. If you're trying to figure out whether or not child-free life is for you, you're going to want to watch this playlist right here. People will also make assumptions about you if you're child-free. That playlist right up here.